He goes through all these sightings of these dinosaurs in this lake and says, wow, maybe one survived for millions of years. Yeah, maybe the Earth's not millions of years old. You know, there's another way to look at this. In this article by Mary Moon, it says right here, they were the latest among thousands to see something strange in this 80-mile-long lake in southern British Columbia. This article says, creature shows up in sonar scan, 40 to 50 feet long. A lake swimmer said he saw the creature swimming under him. It was 20 to 30 feet long. A big eye came up and looked at him while he's swimming across Lake Okanagan. Now that would make you think twice, wouldn't it? We sell this book called Cadborosaurus about the Cadboro Bay monster, which is up north of Seattle. Cadboro Bay. Caddy, as it's called, has been seen as far south as Oregon, up to British Columbia. Professor LeBlond at University of British Columbia published a paper on Caddy at a meeting of Canadian American Societies of Zoology. The remains of a 3-meter-long carcass of an apparent juvenile were discovered in the stomach of a sperm whale. Adult caddies get about 22 feet long. They say the creature has a long neck and a short pointed front flippers. A couple of pilots told me they have seen the creature in that lake. One guy caught a baby one in his dip net. It was 18 inches long. He pulled it up, put it in a bucket. He had to sleep that night on the lake in his boat. He just dropped anchor and slept out there. He said he could hear the creature scratching the side of the bucket all night trying to get out. And he didn't have a camera to take a picture, but he just drew a sketch and then threw it overboard. That's the sketch he drew right there of the creature he saw, the baby caddy that he captured. It's in the book Cadborosaurus. These 4 men claimed their boat was chased by a dinosaur. So I went up and interviewed one of them. The other 3 refused to talk about it. I interviewed this man for nearly an hour. I've got the interview on audio tape. Here's what he said. They were fishing at Cape Sable Island, Nova Scotia. I preached on that Cape Sable Island at a church up there. I met with him. His name is Keith Ross. He was 67 at the time. He said he'd been fishing out there since he's 5 years old. It's a fishing village. That's what everybody does up there, just about. He said the creature was 40 to 50 feet long when it chased their boat for 1 to 2 miles, with its head out of the water about 15 feet, so it's not a fish. It had a wide mouth and 4-foot tusks like a walrus, as well as other pointed sharp teeth about the size of his finger. I showed him a plesiosaur. He said it was close but not exact. What he saw had a 2-foot thick, 8 to 9 foot long neck and 9-inch diameter eyes on the side of the head, so it's not a fish. It's at an angle from the front, not on the side like a fish, I'm sorry. He could see no visible means of propulsion as it swam toward him. It was grayish-brown, covered in barnacles, and rough-textured, and did not appear to have scales. He said they were 6 miles south of Cape Sable Island, Nova Scotia. The water is 180 feet deep and flat calm. He said, I don't want to see it again. That's what he told me when I interviewed him. This thing washed up on the beach in Newfoundland several months ago. Nobody has a clue what it is or was. Again, typically they'll say, oh, it's a basking shark, and it could be, I don't know. But that's always their excuse to dismiss it. I think, though, we need to look at this a little more objectively and to say dinosaurs probably always lived with man, and there could be a few stragglers still around. This book is available from our website also about monsters found in North America. I interviewed this man for 3 hours when I preached in Toronto, or in Quebec, Canada. Jacques Beauvais, he speaks French, is his name. There's his address right here on the table. His website is tiftarea.com, Lake Monster. He collects sightings of the Lake Memphremagog monster. Lake Memphremagog goes out of Vermont up into Quebec, Canada. Many folks claim they have seen the Lake Memphremagog monster. Something has been seen in the Potomac River. It resembles the Loch Ness monster. Something's been seen on Block Island, which is south of Rhode Island. It actually belongs to Rhode Island. It's a part of the state there. This creature washed up on the beach. It was 14 feet long. Nobody knows what it was, and someone stole the bones. So now it's disappeared. In Lake Erie, many folks report a creature like Loch Ness Monster in Lake Erie. It gets in the newspaper once in a while. Erie's Bessie matches Nessie. They describe the creature as black, about 35 feet long, and a snake-like head. This article came out in the paper, said, does Nessie have a cousin in Lake Erie? How about this article? Boaters spot the Erie monster. There's renewed speculation a large serpent-like creature makes Lake Erie its home. John Lyles, a Huron charter boat captain, and his wife Holly said they saw the snake-like creature about 2 nautical miles from Kelly's Island on July 12th while aboard the 16-meter charter boat they run. Lyles said it moved up and down, not side to side like a snake. It was black or dark brown and humped its body 50 centimeters, 20 inches above the water. Estimated the length to be about 5 to 8 meters, or 16 to 25 feet. I talked to John Kraft. I interviewed him. He photographed the Lake Erie monster. He said they were set up to take pictures of the sunset when this creature came swimming by with its head sticking out of the water. He got his camera lens put together real quick, and by the time he got zoomed in on it, the head was down. All he got was the back. He said, sorry, Brother Hovind, I didn't get the head out of the water, but that's what I saw. I interviewed him up in Pennsylvania. I talked with Pete Peterson. He runs the L&D bait shop. He's also a taxidermist. Here's his phone number right here. He told me he was walking on the beach of Lake Erie 6 years earlier and found a dead baby creature. It was 3 feet long, had 4 flippers and a small head and a long neck. He brought it back and mounted it. He's a taxidermist. That's the creature. Nobody has a clue what it was. Carl Baugh bought it. It's in his museum in Texas, but he hasn't put it on display yet because he doesn't know what it is either. He's trying to raise the money to get a DNA sampling to find out it's not a hoax. You know, we don't know for sure, but interesting, whatever it is. In Scituate Harbor, Massachusetts, in 1970, this thing washed up on the beach. It smelled horribly. You could smell it for 3 miles away. I went to Scituate Harbor and interviewed the sheriff. He said, Mr. Hovind, I was one of the first people on the scene at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when this thing washed ashore. We got calls right away. Something stinks out here. He said, I'm telling you, that was a sea monster. He said, some rock and roll station announced, hey, there's a sea monster laying on the beach, and people came from miles around, jammed the streets, blocked traffic in the middle of the night in Scituate Harbor, sleepy little town. Everybody went out there with a hatchet or butcher knife and cut off a piece to have a piece of the sea monster as a souvenir. By the time they got photographs of it, it was all beat up. And again, the folks claimed it was a basking shark, and they argued about it. Quite a few articles written about this creature, though. This man said, I doubt that duels will be fought on the proper name for the monster. The experts at Woods Hole stating it is a basking shark, and Dr. John Hannon positively refusing to accept anything but a real sea serpent. And the health department said, we don't care what it is. It stinks. It's going to contaminate the whole village, and they put dynamite under it and blew it out back into the water, into pieces. What are you going to do with, 10 tons of rotting meat laying on your beach? In 1925 in California, this creature washed up on the beach. California's Nessie. I talked to the man who wrote this article, William Roberts. He said, Brother Hovind, it's really strange. I went to Berkeley to the archives, and I got pictures of this creature laying on the beach. There were many excellent photographs of this creature. He said, when I published my article in Skin Diver magazine, 1989, I got so many calls, people said, wow, that's amazing. Do another article. He said, I went back to Berkeley to the archives, and the pictures were gone, and there was no record of them ever existing. Kind of strange. Some people really like that evolution theory, and anything that rocks the boat has to be quietly, swept under the rug. But you can see the nose coming down to the bottom of the screen, the eyeball on the right. The guy behind him has a rifle, just in case it moves again. The neck was 20 feet long. And I told you I got that letter from the atheist. He said, you're so dumb, Hovind. Don't you know that was a whale? I just wrote back and said, please show me any neck on a whale. Just exactly where is the neck on a whale. It's not a whale. The people who examined it, like the president of the Natural History Society, said, my examination of the monster was quite thorough. It had no teeth. The head is large. The neck 20 feet long. I would call it a type of plesiosaurus. During the 1930s and 40s, people were still reporting these creatures off the coast of California. The fishing fleet reported them. One boat captain said their whole crew of 12 men saw this creature. One report described the creature as surfacing near a fishing boat and staring at the crew with large, baleful eyes from a rounded head that topped a long, slender neck that stuck out of the water a distance of 8 or more feet. This book we sell, Monsters, Mysterious Sea Monsters. Now, most of these books are written by people who do not necessarily believe in creation. They're very fascinating stories. They do a good research and then come to the wrong conclusion. That maybe dinosaurs survived for millions of years. It never dawns on them to think, hey, maybe Our theory's wrong, about millions of years. But in 1969, in New York, fishermen nearly dropped their rods when a giant creature swam under the bridge in New York City. It was chased by the harbor police. The creature was much bigger than a whale.